Tottenham fans, only 4 more days until our Europa League clash with Frankfurt. I'm much looking forward to it. It could be a chance for us to turn our season right around if we can start progressing in that competition. Firstly, we've got Southampton to deal with, and seriously, if we lose that game, I think fans are going to lose their minds. Tim Sherwood has recently come out and said he still thinks Spurs can win the Europa League, and if they did win the Europa League, he thinks that Ange should get a trophy put outside the stadium. Now, considering Bill Nicholson and Keith Birkinshaw still haven't got trophies outside the stadium, and I know there's plans to do it, I'm not even sure if it's been done yet, but there have been plans for a long time for them to have statues of them. To give Ange a statue straight away would be a little bit disrespectful in my humble opinion. So stranger things have happened. Like, let's just sit back and imagine for a minute what would happen if Spurs actually did go on to win the Europa League, because so far in the league it's been dreadful. A horrendous amount of injuries has really stuffed up our season, and we're languishing in 16th now, I think we are at the moment, before the Southampton game. And can you imagine we end up finishing 17th and winning the Europa League? It would still be our best season in 41 years, in my opinion, winning a major European trophy. It's unfathomable that we could actually do something like that, considering how poor the season's going. Now, the last time we won a trophy, we finished 11th. We had a very poor season in the league, so it's not unimaginable that this could happen again. Stranger things have happened. Like, Wigan won the FA Cup one season, and in that same season they got relegated from the Premier League. Middlesbrough got to 2 cup finals and got relegated. Tottenham got to a Champions League final in 2019 against all the odds. Who would have thought at the beginning of that season, out of all the teams that were in it, we've got the Real Madrids, the Barcelonas, the Bayern Munichs, and Spurs got to the final ahead of all of them. Nothing's impossible when it comes to winning trophies. It's sometimes, I know it's a 2-legged affair now until the final, but a one-off game, Spurs can beat anybody if they turn up. I know a lot of the time at the moment they've been putting in poor performances, but if they can turn up against these teams that we're playing are not unbeatable. It's not unimaginable to say we can win this trophy. I've still got the hope. As long as we're still in it, I still think we can win it. And that's just the way I am. This is not being overprotective of Ange. Whoever is the manager of Spurs, I want to cheer my team on to win a Europa League trophy. I do not want to... Well, I heard some fans saying, even if he won the Europa League, they still want him out the door. Now, for me, that is insane. That's crazy talk. We've been waiting 17 years for a trophy. We've been waiting for a manager to come in and win us a trophy. I remember how many times fans said to me, I don't care where we finish in the league as long as we win a trophy. We need to get that trophy hoodoo off our back. Somebody comes in and has a poor season in the league, and remember, he's had horrendous luck with injuries this season, and to get to a Europa League final and win it after all the bad luck we've had this season, and you're still saying you don't want him at the club after we've won a trophy, a major European trophy, and you're still saying you don't want him at the club. You're not even going to give him 6 more months. For me, that is just, you've made up your mind on Ange, and it wouldn't matter what he did, you'd still want him out. Here's another scenario for you. He wins the Europa League. He has next season to see what he can do, and he ends up winning an FA Cup as well. Do you still then want him out? How much does he have to do before you say, I don't want him out anymore? So, yeah. Like, if you think about it as well, one of our most decorated managers, other than Bill Nicholson, was Keith Birkinshaw. Now, Keith Birkinshaw, in his first season with Spurs, got us relegated. The board and everyone backed him. The fans backed him. He got us promoted the next season, and then after that, he got us FA Cups and Europa League success. We gave him time. We backed him. We believed in him, and he came back, and he ended up winning us everything near enough, apart from the league. So, one of our most decorated managers, and he was seen at the time as one of our worst ever managers. And if you think Ange is bad now, this guy that won us all those trophies actually was worse than Ange. He got us relegated. So sometimes things can seem really, really bad because we can't see what's coming. No one can predict the future. And I'm not saying Ange is perfect and Ange is going to be here for the next 10 years or whatever that is. I'll back any managers that's here. But if Ange ends up winning a Europa League after all this backlash of people, everybody wants him gone, people saying he's inept, he's tactically inept, he doesn't know what he's doing, he's the worst manager we've ever had, and then turns it around and wins the Europa League, that's like from villain to hero in the space of 2 months. And going into next season, he'll have his job, and with a bit of luck with injuries, a couple of quality signings, he could turn out to be another one of our most decorated managers. Can you imagine it turning from being people thinking he's the worst to people thinking he's one of the best? How things can flip. Football can change so fast. And I think that's where I get my belief from, because I've seen people down in the dumps. I've seen people really low. I've seen managers being slated and then becoming one of the best managers going. I grew up through the Ferguson era, Alex Ferguson, where there were so many people calling for his head, and he ended up winning everything. There was doom and gloom around Manchester United at the time, thinking he had the same thing. He won the league with Aberdeen in Scotland, and I think he won a European trophy with Aberdeen as well. And but when he came to England, there was well, you can do it in Scotland, but you can't do it here. They were saying the same things. I've seen when Klopp first came in, and they said his style of play, they was talking about how his pressing was too much for the players and it's causing too many injuries, and they can't play like that for 90 minutes. You'll never play like that through the season. The players are getting tired, and he had all this criticism at first. He did really well, to be fair. I think he got to a European final in his first season, so he done really well, and you could see progress in him. So I'm not comparing Ange to Klopp. I'm just saying they were doubts, and there's always been doubts about everyone. Even Manchester City this season, they've had multiple injuries, and they had a run of 1 win in 14 games, and the fans started questioning Pep Guardiola, and I'm like, that's crazy. The amount he's won, you shouldn't even be questioning his ability. But yeah, it's sometimes things get over exaggerated. Things can seem really, really bad, but just over the hill, there's a little bit of light shining, and because nobody knows the future. Something could happen in the next few weeks, and we could end up in a semi-final of the Europa League. And then all of a sudden we're thinking, you know what, we're 3 games away from winning this, and the belief may start coming back, and everything can turn around so fast. It really can. So I know this sounds overly optimistic, and I know there's going to be loads of people in my comments. I get a lot of abuse if I say anything positive about Spurs. If I believe in my club, I'm a happy clapper. It's very strange. It's all backwards to me nowadays, and I know you're all going to do it to me again anyway, but there you go. I'm just saying, and all I'm saying in this video is anything can happen. You could be in the worst, darkest moments of your football career, and it can turn around in an instant. It really can. So all I'm saying is nothing is impossible. Spurs could go on to win this against all odds. Thank you for watching, and come on you Spurs.